if we were to look at this and say, all right, yeah, that's disturbing because we see this little kid's penis. So now every time we see a naked baby in a movie, is that going to be a case for a lawsuit? Every time we see a diaper commercial where a little baby might show their little butt, is that the case for a lawsuit? You know, this is ridiculous, man. Double Toasted Live in New York is right around the corner, Friday, September 10th, and there are less than 100 tickets left. But I want you to join me for a night of comedy and games, and I want you to get your tickets now before it sells out. So go to doubletoasted.com or go to x1entertainment.com/double-toasted-Brooklyn, and we'll see you there. Got some good news and bad news for people. Hey, everybody, the good news is that Nirvana is getting back together, people. That's right. One of the best and beloved rock bands of all time is getting back together. The bad news is that it's going to be in court. I wonder if they'll get Kurt Cobain back. You know, y'all like, what? What's going on with this? Listen, y'all know, everybody knows Nirvana, man, whether you love rock music or not. Nirvana is considered not to be one of the most beloved and best rock bands of all time, but probably, I think it's safe to say, one of the most influential rock bands. They changed the course of rock history. Everybody who heard that song for the first time, whether you've caught it decades later after it was out or you've heard it for the first time when it was playing on MTV or whatever, everybody's like, damn, I've never heard anything like that before. You know, this was so famous. They even did they tracked down the janitor in the video to find out what his story was. You know, it's like, who's the dancing janitor in the video, man? Everybody was so fascinated by every little bit of this song, this video, and everybody's very fascinated by the album cover. You know, the little naked baby going after the dollar with a little pee-pee hanging out right there. That's been one of the most famous album covers for years. So, I mean, if we're talking about decades, then, hey, everything's cool, right? I mean, you go for 30 years without anybody saying anything, then we're in the clear. Not if that baby has something to say about it.
The face of a famous Nirvana album is suing the band to get $150,000 from each band member.
All right, so anyway. Here's the story if you want to see what the guy looks like now, today. I guess he would be 30 years old since this came out 30 years ago. And as you heard in the story right there, he says he's suing Nirvana's for the Nevermind cover, where he says that Nirvana engaged in child pornography. Woo, I got some thoughts on this, man. But, Christian, you brought this up to us today, and I figured we would be talking about this. How do you feel about this story, man?
I mean, it's hilarious, but it also is this weird thing where you're like, all right, get past the initial laughing and then think about what the implications of this can be, because it seems like the weird precedent-setting lawsuit that could like change things going forward, where like you could be. What's the statute of limitations on a fucking album art cover? Also, you are forever associated with one of the most endearing images, right, of rock music. Like Chuck Berry doing the duck walk and Elvis Presley, doing the King thing. And then like Nirvana's Nevermind is an iconic image of the same breath, I would say. So it just seems really weird, because if you're going to do this and you sold 30 million records of that with your image on that, he's asking for $150,000 from each member. That's it. Like, this isn't a huge power grab. It seems very specific. Like, this guy just wants to open up a restaurant and needs like $156,000. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's the thing that's blowing my mind. It's like, what's the end goal here? Like, I don't know. Am I being crazy about this? What are your thoughts?
No. I think this is a money grab, and this is stupid. And what they need to do is, at this point, Dave Grohl could probably himself just pull out his pocket and say, all right, here, take up and leave us alone. Go somewhere. It's a shame, but the kid, he made one of the most famous album covers ever. It's made history. He's causing some trouble right now. Give him some money under the condition that you don't do this again, or else we're going to go hard. All right? So it's best that you take this money. Thank you. Good to see you, kid. Hope you're doing well. Get out of here and leave us alone. The reason why this is stupid is because, first of all, this guy, for years, ever since he was in his 20s, this guy's been I've been seeing him pop up every now and then. Let me see what this guy's name is.
Every big anniversary, they pop him back up. And he seems happy. There's a picture of that. The picture there is the 25th anniversary one, I believe.
Yeah. Spencer Eldon is his name. I've seen Spencer throughout the years popping up whenever this is talked about. Here he is right here. He's smiling and everything, and he's always talked fondly of this. He's always made jokes about it. There was never any mention of child pornography or Nirvana fondled me, or those guys. I didn't know what I was doing, and they shouldn't have put me there. It's never been that. I even found an interview. I think this is like from, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I forgot when this was, but he's talking about the album cover, and he's making jokes about it. But I'm going to tell you why this is something that can. He knows they're going to pay them off because this is something that is not going to fly in court. And if it does, then it's a very dangerous standard that they're setting in place. But here he is, Spencer Eldon, I think, Spencer Eldon, talking about the cover for Nevermind and talking about his feelings about it years later.
I have to think it's not me or something, but it's a trip. There's a lot of people that have seen my baby penis as a baby. It's pretty crazy.
Well, that'll be the time they see a baby penis is when you're a baby.
Well, no, actually, I think the truth is Dick probably never grew past that size because 3 times that interview, he makes a point to say my baby penis when I was a baby, not just my baby penis. He could have left it at that.
This dude looked like he either hit the bar before he got there or smoked out or both. He looks high as hell.
It'd be nice to have a quarter for every person that has seen my baby penis. Maybe that doesn't matter, It's cool to be a part of that recipe for success.
He looks like that heroin addict that the police interview for information before they give him more money to go off.
CI.
Exactly. He looks like that drug addict that I'm not saying he is on drugs. I'm just saying he's talking like they're like, those movies and those cop shows where they need to find something, so they go look for David the drug addict, and they get information from him before they give him money again for his next fix. And before he leaves, they're like, David, get yourself together. That kind of bullshit, man. This guy's looking for money, all right? I don't know why. Maybe he don't want to work. Maybe he wants to get drunk. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just looking for some easy cash right now. As you say, maybe he wants to open up a food truck. I don't know what the hell he wants to do, but he's looking for money. Because let's go through and examine why this whole lawsuit that he wants to bring up, let's look at why that's bullshit. One, you just heard him talking about this. He's been coming up in all these interviews over the years talking about how cool it was. Here, he said it was cool to be part of that history. Would I'd probably do it again. My baby penis. Ha, 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 ha. He's laughing about it. So this is something where why all of a sudden, 30 years later, especially during those years where you're an adult, why are you coming up and talking about this now? But also, we got to look at what this was for. You got to look at intent. When they shot this, there's nothing pornographic about it. The intent behind this was nothing sexual. There was no reason to go in and try to say that this is something that was trying to entice people, titilize people, arouse people. And there goes people that they're going to come in and say, well, what if it does? Now you got a baby there and you know that there are pedophiles out there. Well, then that's their problem. Are we going to listen? You're using the same excuse of, well, she shouldn't have dressed that way. She shouldn't have stepped out looking like that and turn me on. People, there are folks out there that look at Sears catalogs at the underwear section and jack off to them. Well, I don't even know if they have Sears catalogs anymore, but I remember being a kid and we knew a dude that did that.
You showed your ass there, Coleman. We know what you do in your free time.
Yeah. Yes, you knew somebody. You probably heard the story. I've told it before. We knew somebody who actually used to get off to the underwear section of the Sears catalog. Now, look, you can go online and look up any picture. Shit, there are people who look at women's feet and get aroused. So, to say that this is something that might get people excited, are sexually aroused. Well, that's not Nirvana's problem. That's not the intent of the picture right here. And there's nothing sexual about it. And if we were to look at this and say, all right, yeah, that's disturbing because we see this little kid's penis. So now every time we see a naked baby in a movie, is that going to be a case for a lawsuit? Every time we see a diaper commercial where the little baby might show their little butt, is that the case for a lawsuit? You know, this is ridiculous, man. This is, and if and I personally, unless you really want to set a dangerous precedent or a standard right here for moving forward and sort of in some really muddled legal cases, then this is something I can't see moving on because you can't prove that there was any pornography here.
All right. The good news is, like, all the defense attorneys, and I agree with them, like, no reasonable person would ever say this is child pornography. And I would say just look at the thing itself, which is like whether you're a huge Nirvana fan or you're like me and you like respect Nirvana, the legacy, but don't love the band. That album cover is like a genius album cover. You can look at it and say there's artistic merit to it before, like, and it's really hits that sweet spot that I think a lot of art was talking about. Clerks was a couple of years later too, but people in that generation who felt too smart but had no options, overqualified but undervalued and stuff like that. And before we learn how to swim or breathe, we are chasing dollar bills. Like that's an artistic thing. It's a really beautiful image. You know what I mean? And that right there, you can make the case like, oh no, it's made for art, and we're okay supposedly with nudity as long as we're doing it in a way that says something. Certainly, this is saying something. You know,
and listen, I don't even know whether it's art or not. Yeah, I think it is art. You know, everything can be art. You know, it definitely was something to get people talking. It's definitely a memorable image. It's funny that kid grew up to be that baby grew up to be the same dude chasing money, except there's like $400,000 attached to that hook, and it's a grown ass man in that water with his ass showing instead of his dick hanging out. You know, this is ridiculous, man. This is stupid. I don't even know why anybody would even argue this. But he's as derpy and crazy as he might look, I believe, just in my heart, I believe that this man knows exactly what he's doing. You know, he's not asking for notice he's not asking for $1 million. He's not asking for a lot. He's not out there advocating for children of sexual abuse. He ain't doing none of that shit. All he's doing is saying, give me some money and I'll shut the fuck up and go about my day. That's exactly what he's doing. He's asking for a reasonable amount of money because he knows that Dave Grohl, who's the guy that's in politics now?
Chris Novoselic. I think that's how
Chris
his name. The other one.
He knows he ain't got the kind of money that Dave Grohl probably has. Maybe he does. I can't say that he might have more money than Dave Grohl, but for sure he knows that Dave Grohl has so much money. And he says, if I ask Dave Grohl for $300,000, that's get the fuck off of me money. You know, that's go away money. That's shut up money, hush money, whatever. You know, that's settle out of court money. So he don't. This asshole knows what he's doing, man. I call complete bullshit on this. If I was a judge, I wouldn't even let this shit up in my court because that's wasting time, clogging the system up. You know what I would do? I would look at that fucking kid. When that man came in, I would say, first of all, get the out of my court with this nonsense. But before you do, sign my cover of this album right here real quick. Because that's
anniversary.
Awesome.
It's gonna be a real hot ticket on eBay.
yeah, man. And you make yourself look pathetic. If you want to know how I really feel about this guy, you make yourself look fucking pathetic sitting up here doing this. There's no way I would go in there and try to get easy money for the sake of just making me look as sad as this right here. You need money that much that you got to do this? You just not want to work? What the f- going on with you, man? Come on. I have some pride. Have some self-respect. Because this is stupid. I would really love to hear somebody's argument to where they say, and I'm not trying to get defensive and challenge you. I would really love to hear an argument for where this guy is making any sense at all. If anybody has one. If there's anything I have nice to say about this situation, about this guy in this particular lawsuit that he's trying to bring up, it would be this. He was probably cool, and then some lawyer got into his head saying, you know what, we can get some easy money.
That's right, because he's recreated this picture a bunch. Like, you think any defense lawyer is not going to be like, oh, you didn't seem to think this was a problem the other 6 times you recreated this image.
Yeah, man. Maybe some lawyer got into his head and said, hey, well, look, this is a chance for all of us to make some easy money. And lawyers can be slick, man. Do you realize that you might have been sexually abused? Do you realize that just putting your image out there? Do you know mentally what that does to you? Did you ask to be in that picture? No, you did not. I know what they do,
no consent.
man.
We're in the age of consent, baby.
Yeah, I know what they did. Skull put something here. Might be interesting. In the chat, if you look down, Skull says, in a lawsuit that also named photographer Kurt Weddy, Weddle, and the labels behind the album's release, Eldon claims that he suffered lifelong damages and says his legal guardians never signed a release authorizing the use of any image of Spencer or of his likeness, and certainly not of commercial child pornography depicting him. He's also suing for distribution of private sexually explicit materials, negligence, and what's described as a sex trafficking venture where Eldon was forced to engage. Oh, shut the up. Stop. You know what? For a moment, and then you didn't have anything, but you said, well, I suffered some lifelong damages where my consent wasn't baby, all right? There's babies all the time being put in movies. So if that's the case, then we can't ever use babies for commercials or movies again. Because that baby's going to come back one day and be like, give me my money. Get the out of here, man. This is stupid.
My God.
It's
I don't disagree with you, Corey. I think that this is all righteous anger in which you're swelling right now.
Well, it's just dumb because this shit went off the. I mean, it says I'm mad at how stupid it got because at first it was like, all right, I didn't ask for consent. I'm like, all right, maybe I don't think it's a good argument, but it's an argument that seems somewhat reasonable compared to what.
But when they
followed
say
after.
there's a child pedophile ring, a trafficking ring, that's where you draw the line. You're like, no, wait a minute.
When we're talking about I was depicted in pornography, sexually explicit material, and I was in a child trafficking ring. Now that's where you just talk your shit completely off the cliff.
I mean, Kurt was going to expose the truth, and they took him out. There's the big conspiracy theories that Kurt didn't kill himself. He was killed by someone because he knew too much. And after reading this deposition, that's all I'm saying.
God damn, boy. You know what? If y'all manage to catch that baby, throw his ass back in. This is stupid. This is ridiculous, y'all. I dare somebody, unless the sight of a baby's private parts, just, not doing anything. If that's something that offends you, then okay, then that's a personal problem. But there's nothing sexually explicit about this at all. And I would question you if you say yes, there is. Now I'm wondering, well, what is wrong with you? Because I look at this and I don't see anything sexual about it at all. If you see something sexual, then you might want to get yourself checked out. I'll put the shit back on you if that's what you see.
Right. It's like the most truculent of anti-gay people are the people that get caught fucking around in like bathrooms with other people. It's the same thing.
Oh, that is true, though. That is true. Yeah. It's always the people talking about, I don't look at that, and that's filthy, and how dare you engage in that activity. Those are some of the people that do that shit the most, man. So if you sit up here talking about, yes, that's disgusting, putting that baby there, there's something going on with you. You got to be that vocal about it, because then don't nobody else see anything wrong with this. It's a baby. I'm sorry. Babies have private parts. If that is something that you refuse to want to see, then go get yourself checked or stay in the house or don't ever have kids, or better yet, don't even get near a child. Because there's something going on with you. Either you're anywhere from being very, very, very prudish or pedophilia. I don't know. You can tell me. Anyway, anything. I'll let you have the last word on this, man.
I have no last words. This guy needs help. Like I think it's really depressing just because you see it happening in real time, and it's a guy who clearly just wants money and is transparent about it. He probably could have just gone to Dave Grohl. He seems like a nice guy. Just be like, hey, Dave, can I have some money? Dave might have done it just out of the gratitude of his own heart, but instead he's doing weird shit like this.
Maybe he did go to Dave and he was like,
oh, that's what it was. He got like a stern rejection.
Yeah. And I told you never to call here again, kid. All right, I got you.
Like that scene with the Joker, like where he goes to Thomas Wayne and talks to him, but it's Dave Grohl and he's rejected.
Yeah,
he's heartbroken by it.
Turned out Dave Grohl's a complete asshole. Beats his ass. Now get the fuck out of here. Don't ever come around this place again. You understand? All right, you're forcing me to do this, Dave. We'll see. Yeah, he needs help. He needs
Dave Grohl needs to avoid any Zorro plays that are playing in the LA area.
He said, yeah, Chris, I need help. I need $350,000 worth of help. I'm going to get it. I like the way they put his ass in front of a swimming pool.
Well, I think it's the same swimming pool, but that would be funny if just any time he was photographed, he was contractually obligated to be poolside.
If he was so disturbed, you think he'd go around that pool and be like, no. But no, look at him. He's all there posing, taking pictures. I wish somebody came and pushed his ass back in.
No PTSD for that, baby.
Whatever.